Meryl Streep, James Corden, Nicole Kidman, Keegan-Michael Key, and Ryan Murphy are teaming up with Netflix to take you to the prom. Hey everybody, Dan here. This is Dan Reviews It, and welcome to my standalone review of Netflix's The Prom. Before we get into it, please go ahead and click that subscribe button below. If you click the bell too, you'll get notifications for whenever I put new videos up, and you can check those out. Also, leave me some notes in the comments. Did you see this movie, The Prom? What did you think of it? Did you see the musical that it's based on? I certainly didn't, so I would love to know how the movie compares to it. Either way, I love interacting with you guys on the comments, so please go ahead and do that. And if you like this video or any of my videos, really, just click that like button below as well, and that helps the channel out too. So before we get into it, yes, usually I do big, 3 or 4 movie reviews at once because, I watch a lot of movies every week, and I don't want to inundate you guys with a solo review for every single movie I watch. But on occasion, I think there are some that really kind of stand out. They're being talked about a lot, and this is certainly one of them. Netflix's The Prom has been in the top 2 of Netflix shows since its release last week, and so people are still talking about this. Great word of mouth, and it's pretty easy to see why. Ryan Murphy collaborating again with Netflix. This guy has really done a lot of work with Netflix this year. Already he had a movie just recently that I reviewed called The Boys in the Band, featuring actually one of the players in this film, Andrew Rannells, but also a couple of TV shows, Ratched, the Nurse Ratched show, and Hollywood, about the old 50s soapy Hollywood scene. And so here is yet another collab between Ryan Murphy and Netflix. And how does it stack up to some other Ryan Murphy productions? How does it stack up to other recent Netflix musicals? How does it stack up to Meryl Streep's movies? A lot of questions here. So yes, like I mentioned, this is actually based on a 2018 Broadway show. I did not know that. I have not heard of this show. I don't really follow Broadway that much unless there's something like that is huge, like Hamilton or Book of Mormon or something. So I was, pretty unfamiliar with this, but it came up as a big movie on Netflix, so looked into it a little bit, and sure enough, a 2018 Broadway show. And they just actually finished wrapping this movie just in time before COVID shut down Hollywood. They started production in December of 2019, which I think is pretty early for a Broadway show that just went up in 2018. So obviously, it's got a lot of goodwill, and people are loving the Broadway show, even though I had not heard of it. And they just finished filming for all the principal players 2 days before COVID shut everything down. So luckily, we were able to get this out this year. And essentially, we have this gal, Jo Ellen Pellman, playing Emma Nolan. And this is her first film. She's done a couple of very small roles in television shows, but this is her first film, and she was not, as far as I can tell, a part of the Broadway show either. So really, possibly a star-making turn for her, Jo Ellen Pellman. So she plays Emma Nolan, who is sort of at the center of this film. Basically, the school's going to have a prom, and she is a lesbian girl that wants to take her girlfriend, and Kerry Washington plays the head of the PTA, and she says, no, no, no. This is in Edgewater, Indiana, which is a very small town, and they don't go in for things like that. So as we learn a little more about these characters, Emma's girlfriend actually is the Kerry Washington character's daughter, played by Ariana DeBose, and she plays Alyssa. And so, yeah, she is sort of caught in the middle here. But anyway, they decide to cancel prom against the principal's wishes. Keegan-Michael Key, Principal Hawkins, is who he plays. And so Meryl Streep, James Corden, and Nicole Kidman, meanwhile, are over on Broadway trying to do well in this Eleanor Roosevelt show. And it just gets panned across the board by the critics. It closes the same night it opens, leaving them sort of hanging for what their next move is going to be, what to do, and we have this dude Sheldon, who is the publicist of Dee Dee, which is Meryl Streep's character, and Barry Glickman, James Corden's character, and he basically tells them, "Look, it's not the material; it's you guys. You guys are, narcissistic. You're jerks. People don't like you, and so they are like, well, how can we have some goodwill? How can we get our names to be up there in lights again?" So they team up with their friend Angie Dickinson, who is played by Nicole Kidman here, who takes leave from Chicago after being passed over for 20 years for the Roxy Hart role. And they find this story and go to Edgewater, Indiana, along with their friend Trent Oliver, played by Andrew Rannells. And he will tell you he is a Juilliard graduate and tell you all about his theater experience. So the four of them make their way to Edgewater, Indiana, and disrupt another meeting about what to do with the prom. And the story goes from there. We don't really do spoilers on this channel, so that's really all I'm going to tell you about the plot of this. But yes, this is a new musical, so we don't know any of the songs going into this unless you saw the Broadway show or have the original cast soundtrack or something. So, how does the music stack up? Well, let's start there. So first of all, in terms of the singing, we've seen most of these people sing in other films. Nicole Kidman goes back to Moulin Rouge, as far as I can remember, maybe even something before that. Meryl Streep, in the last 10, 15 years, we've seen her in many things. Mamma Mia. She was in Into the Woods, and she even did a song in the Mary Poppins Returns movie with Emily Blunt. She did the singing or the Turning Turtle song. So we know she can sing. James Corden also, Into the Woods, Carpool Karaoke, of course, one of his classic bits on The Late Show. And yes, he was in Cats. So I'm back and forth with James Corden, but I try not to hold Cats against him. So they can all sing. And then Keegan-Michael Key, we just saw recently in Jangle Jangle over on Netflix. I reviewed that last week. So, so they all sing very well. Some other people, I don't remember hearing Kerry Washington sing before. I could certainly be wrong on that, but she gets a song here. But look, Meryl Streep, she is really firing on all cylinders with the singing in this movie. Now, I will say she has a few of the best songs. I think The Lady's Improving, which she sings by herself, is one of the best songs here. And then It's Not About Me, which is about all the Broadway people. And then Kerry Washington, Keegan-Michael Key, and the ensemble also sing with that one. And then the opening number, Changing Lives, is mostly Meryl Streep and James Corden, but there's some ensemble members there as well. So she's got really, some of the top songs here. But even, above that, her voice is in great form. I don't think I've heard her sing like this in any of the other movies. She's really belting it out, and it sounds like her. I mean, it really sounds like, maybe there was a little bit of doctoring. There usually is, I guess, but she really sounded on point. James Corden, as a person, I go back and forth with. I like him sometimes. Other times, I just want to punch him in his smiling, chubby face. I really don't like Carpool Karaoke. I think it's hackneyed, and how excited he gets when they start singing a new song. It just makes me angry, just because I know it's so scripted with the person, and it's, I don't really care that he's not really driving some of the time. When that was a big scandal like a year ago, I didn't care about that, but I just... It kind of, he talks to the artist beforehand, and okay, what songs are we going to sing? But like when the songs come up, he just acts like it's, the newest news out there. Oh my God, we're going to sing this. I just hate it. He actually does not have a super good song in this by himself. His solo song is called Barry is Going to Prom, because his character is also gay, and some of this stuff going on in the movie obviously is making him think about his coming out at 16 and how that affected him and what that did to his family and this, that, and the other thing. So he sings a song about that. Didn't really love that. Probably the worst song in the movie is Nicole Kidman's it's not really a solo. It's her and the lead girl, the Pellman girl, who what's the character's Emma Nolan is the character, and it's called Zazz. They're talking about jazz hands, and put some zazz on it. It's appropriate that that title has three Z's because that song was a snooze. So, but some of these songs are very clever, some are funny, and some are actually quite poignant with the themes of the movie and what's going on, with the characters and stuff. So a lot of the songs I really did enjoy. Um, so that's pretty much about the music. The acting is all pretty much what you would expect from these people. I mean, these are all pros. Pellman is good. I could tell that she was not, quite up to snuff with some of these professional adults. And I wasn't sure if that's because, okay, well, she's a Broadway girl, so this is a film, it's a little bit different. But, now that I see this is really the first big thing she's done, she was not part of the Broadway show, as far as I can tell. Now it kind of makes sense that, she's sort of a little bit, not, she's just not up to snuff with these, powerhouses. I don't think you would expect her to be with Meryl Streep and Nicole Kidman and Kerry Washington, and some of these people. So, all right, that's fine. But let's talk about the Ryan Murphy of it all. So this is easily the closest thing he's done to Glee since that show went off the air. I was a big Glee fan in the beginning. I watched for about a year and a half, almost 2 years, and then sort of fell out with it. It got to be a little too over the top. One thing I think that made Glee work so well is that most of the songs they sang were big hits or, at least mildly known by people. And sometimes they would do mashups and stuff, but it was mostly really popular songs. And so I think that really helped kind of sell the sauce of that show. Whereas here, we're depending on songs that we've never heard before to enthrall us. Sometimes they do, and sometimes, like I talked about, they don't. But part of being a Ryan Murphy production is some over-the-top things. And we definitely get that in spades here. And that can be a blessing and a curse. I mean, first of all, it depends on the project. But here, I think it's more of a blessing, probably. However, the theme of everything, the gay teen being, kind of ousted from, the family and, ousted from school groups and cliques that maybe she was a part of before this. A lot of that stuff is, I mean, really, we've been down this road so many times, Glee wasn't the first to do it either, but, so this is not even Ryan Murphy's first time at the dance, but even his, previous attempts weren't really the first time we've tackled this subject. So what does this say that's new about that? And the truth is, not really much, and Kerry Washington, I like her, and her performance is fine here, but she is playing this stock character that we've seen time and time again. It actually reminds me a lot of Catherine Zeta-Jones's character in Rock of Ages, where she's just like, she's out for blood and, at any cost, we're putting a stop to this and da-da-da-da-da with no real, other than like, we're Edgewater, Indiana, we're a small town, and, we don't do that here. Other than that, what else is there? Like, we've seen that all before. So, Ryan Murphy's sort of stamp on it makes it fun. I'll give it that. Andrew Vinales has a great song. It's not a very deep song, let's say. Although it kind of is, I guess. It's called Love Thy Neighbor, and it's about, he basically sings it to some of the kids that are jerks to Emma's character, and he's like, look, you all say that you're Christian, but what's the number one rule, in the Bible? Love thy neighbor, love thy neighbor. So it's deep, in that respect. But more than that, it's really a clever song. I'd say it's maybe the most clever, other than maybe It's Not About Me. But he does a good job with it. It's like a show-stopping number. and that's fine and good. The choreography, in that and some of the other songs is very good. Um, but the other thing, speaking of like being a little too pedestrian, like the Kerry Washington character, Streep, Corden, and Kidman, they're Broadway personas. They're, over the top, sycophant type of personas. We've seen that time and time again, and they're sort of poking fun at it, but at the same time, I think being it. They're sort of poking fun at, oh, love me, be over the top, and um, that Broadway actors are so crazy, and they just want to be loved. And it's like I just get that sense every time I watch a Ryan Murphy production. Like it's just sometimes trying a little too hard. Now, full disclosure, as I always say when I'm reviewing anything with gay themes, I am gay, and so I always want to put that out there. I am sort of viewing it from the perspective of, okay, somebody that's been there, somebody that has had to come out, over several different times in my life, X, Y, and Z. But I keep saying it because we've reviewed a lot of gay content lately on the channel, and it's just so happens that there's a lot being put out. Happiest Season I reviewed last week, which is a new Christmas movie on Hulu with sort of a secrecy of being gay at the center of it. And coming up sometime this week, probably I'll review Uncle Frank over on Amazon, which has a secretive gay character as part of the main plot. So we've seen that a lot. We've seen the whole high school thing certainly a lot. So it adds really nothing new to that agenda. The small town gay thing, we've done that to death as well. So it really comes down to how are the songs and how are the performances, because everything else is, to be honest, pretty pedestrian about this movie. And luckily the answer is, except for, a couple of bum songs, most of the songs are from like pretty good to great on that level, and the acting is pretty good as well. So I leave The Prom with a positive grade. I don't think it's for everybody, though. I think theater kids specifically will love it because there are a lot of winks and nods to, this high school doesn't have a theater program, and, Broadway kids and da-da-da-da-da. So I think theater kids will love this. I think people that love original musicals will find a lot to like here. But for people that are watching movies mainly for, heavy storylines, great themes that we have not seen before, well, this might not be the one for you. So I'm going to leave The Prom with a B. I think it is certainly a solid addition to Netflix recent musicals. That's only slightly under what I gave Jingle Jangle last week, which was a B+. So I think both are certainly worth your time. And I think this is one I could see getting the soundtrack for, which I don't always do. I think I wasn't really thinking that with Jingle Jangle, although that did have a lot of good songs in it. But, I like, if I'm going to listen to a soundtrack over and over again for a Broadway musical or something of that ilk, I do like the songs to have, this cleverness, I guess, to them. Or if they're not clever like the songs here, they have to be like sort of boombastic and sing along like The Greatest Showman or something like that. So I could see definitely checking out this soundtrack as well. The singing is wonderful. So yes, I recommend The Prom. So that's going to do it for this review. I actually might do a couple other standalone Netflix reviews too. I'm still debating about Hillbilly Elegy. I haven't watched it yet, but a lot of people were expecting that to be like this big Oscar movie, and then it came out and everyone seemed to hate it. So I'm very intrigued about that. And there's obviously a lot of other movies to tackle. I've been trying to watch one new movie every single day in December, and I've hit that mark so far. In fact, I'm one movie ahead. I know I'm going to give Tenet its own review as well. I was hoping to see that a second time in theaters before it comes out on DVD, but theaters have been shuttered again in Pennsylvania, so I won't be doing that, at least on the big screen. But I would like to probably see Tenet one more time before I give you a review of it. But other than that, that will do it. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you next time. Bye.